The referees from Poland, Paulina Smith, and from Germany, Alexander Schreiner. Game commissioner from Great Britain, Brian Wards. Scorekeeper from Denmark, Camilla Engelgren. Timekeeper from the Czech Republic, Diana Slaviskova. 40 seconds operator from Denmark, Jakob Rosenlund. Penalty timekeeper from Denmark, Ida Kjær Christiansen. And now, heartily welcome to the team from Japan. Player number 21 and captain, Yuki Ike. Number 1, Hideki Wakayama. Number 2, Yuki Hasegawa. Number 3, Kei Kobayashi. 4, Masayuki Hara. 7, Daisuke Isesaki. Number 9, Tsuruaki Ima. 13, Shinichi Shimakawa. 14, Sunya Nakamachi. 22, Saya Norimatsu. 23, Hitachi Ogata. And number 32, Tatsuya Hashimoto. The head coach of Japan, Kevin Orr. Assistant coaches, Hideki Nakatani and Takahiki Yoshimori. And now the team from New Zealand. Number 1 and the captain, Cameron Lindsay. 14, also the captain, Chloe Anderson. Number 2, Gareth Leeds. 6, Aidan Barton-Booth. 7, Maya Marcia Mark. 9, Gavin Rosen. Number 10, Robert Huey. 15, Tanafi Yokoro. Number 51, Ian Simpson. Head coaches, Gavin Rosen, Robert Huey. Assistant coach, Gregory Mitchell. And the two national anthems. First, Japan. Please stand.
Hello and welcome. Here we are on day 5 of the 2022 Wheelchair Rugby World Championship in the wonderful Spectrum in Vejle. And we've got through the group stages. We've whittled it down from 12 to the top 8. And now we have Japan versus New Zealand. And New Zealand are going to get us underway with a haka. What an absolutely wonderful sight that is, and it's great to see the likes of Hayden Barton-Coots. They perform that, and then it's all smiles, both from them and from their Japanese opposition. The Japanese, all smiles, they are the #1 seeds, and they won their pool, meaning that they played the team that finished 4th in the other pool, so it's Japan versus New Zealand. My name is Drew Lilly. Alongside me, I have Chris Ryan, GB International. Chris, it's, well, Japan have lived up to their billing. They're the #1s, and they've cruised through the group stages.
They have, yeah, and they really kind of worked through the gears as they went through that group as well. We saw probably their best performance yesterday when they played Australia. I think, during the whole game, they only gave away 4 turnovers, and, a little bit more of that today, and, they'd be strong favourites, but I think earlier on in the tournament we saw them struggle a little bit against Colombia, so depends which Japan comes out today as to, the way this game's going to go.
Quick look at the officials there, Paulina Schmidt and Alexander Schreiner. And that's the starting lineup for Japan. Hasegawa, Shimakawa, Ike and Norimatsu. So Shin and Ike starting as the high pointers, and then for New Zealand, Cam Leslie, Hayden Barton-Coots, Fani Lefono and Gavin Rolton. Yes, they went through the gears, as you say, Chris, going through the group stages. Japan found themselves in quite a tough Pool B, alongside the likes of Australia, Canada, Denmark, the host nation, Brazil and Colombia, and defeated them all. New Zealand, on the other hand, came up short against Great Britain, USA and France. No shame in any of that, but defeated Germany and Switzerland. So the bottom 2 teams from the 2 pools, Germany and Switzerland from Pool A, Brazil and Colombia, Pool B, they've gone into the placing matches for 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th, and the other 8. 4 from Pool A, 4 from Pool B, it's swapping over. First in Pool A plays 4th in Pool B. Second, third, all vice versa, semis and finals. And we are underway.
And the Japanese player actually won the tip, but it went straight to Lefono, who unfortunately fumbles and bounces the ball off his will.
So it's the equivalent, I suppose, of Japan winning the tip. However, Japan will have the possession at the start of the second quarter, since New Zealand officially won the tip. So that's almost a double possession for Japan. I think New Zealand need everything to go absolutely perfectly right for them today if they're going to challenge Japan. And that went wrong from about 5 seconds in.
I mean, yeah, like you say, having that possession is massive at the start of the second quarter as well. So, it's gone perfectly for Japan so far. It'd be interesting to watch Hayden Barton-Coots against Ike Yukonobu, because normally both of these players have no one to contest them height-wise.
Exactly, they've got the longest arms in the sport. As we have a quick look there at the number 10 for New Zealand, Robert Hewitt. He's their player coach, and he's more coach than player here, so we may not see a whole lot of him. And there we have Shinichi Shimakawa, showing a clean pair of wheels to Hayden Barton-Coots.
Japan, number 13, Shimakawa.
New Zealand had some really good news earlier on on this week. Cameron Leslie started the tournament as a three-pointer, and he, after classification, he's come down to a 2.5 player.
Well, he got barged out of bounds there. Did he manage to call a timeout? Yes, he did. You could see the very clear signal there from Paulina Schmidt, the T for timeout. So he knows he's going to be barged out. I presume it was a verbal call. He managed to get the arms around there as well. So that is to make sure, had he been knocked out of play, it would have been a turnover because he would have taken the ball out of play. So he's used one of the 4 30-second timeouts that each team has to stop play, and then they will start up again, having maintained possession.
It's quick thinking there from Leslie. You know, it's difficult to take that hit and instantly almost put your hands up for the timeout call. So good play from him there to get that in time.
Ball to be inbounded by Fanny Lefourneau, and it is, and it's a 1-2, and Lefourneau slightly hard in the mouth there. I thought, come on, you got to reel that one in, but he does. So they are matching Japan try for try in the early going.
Lovely pass there from Shimakawa. Almost like a push pass off to the right. Can be a little bit awkward to get much distance on these passes, but he did a good job there.
Now, local time, obviously, it's early on a Friday morning. You can see the New Zealand fans there on the left. Then on the right, we have a lot of... Oh, there's a big hit here. We'll get back to what's going on in the stands a little bit later on.
I did fear for Cam Leslie there. So this has been called a spinning foul. I don't think he really did it with intent, but Ike Yukonobu just kind of gave him a little hip flick at the last minute and got his chair out the way. So Leslie ended up hitting behind the axle, and it's they are really, you know, a kick to the gut when you're on offense and you give an offensive turnover away.
So running repairs just to the left there on Hayden Barton Coots' chair. So there seem to be a lot of Danish school kids in here on the right there on your screen, waving Japanese flags. They seem to have been given Japanese flags here, which is a very clever move by the Japanese Wheelchair Rugby Federation. A bunch of school kids here because it's 11 o'clock on a Friday morning. It's a school day, obviously. And they've been given an excursion to come here to the Vejle Spectrum to watch some top quality sport, and they're going absolutely wild every time that Japan score a try, which is wonderful. I think they've obviously chosen which one to back. Are we going to go for the team that's number 1 in the world or number 8? No, let's back a winner. So Japan have a 2-try lead after that turnover. The unfortunate spinning foul called against Cam Leslie, who's on the ball at the moment.
Lovely pass in there to HBC, Hayden Barton Coots.
HBC, you're saying, and Yukinobu Ike, number 21 for Japan, the captain. They were side by side there, and they have 2 of the longest reaches, if not the 2 longest reaches in wheelchair rugby. So seeing those 2 side by side when a pass is floated over is going to be fun. New Zealand need to get the ball over the halfway line, which Lefourneau doesn't quite do. They've got 2 seconds to get it over, and just in time. I think that was probably charitable. You can see the shot clock there that says 40 seconds, the possession clock. By the time it gets down to 28, the ball must have been touched either by the floor, a chair, or a player for the attacking team to have got it over the halfway line. It's not just a case of getting it over the halfway line, it has to have made contact with something. So I think that was a slightly charitable call there.
We saw Cam Leslie doing really well to corral that ball in as well, as Shimakawa was hitting him.
Yes, you're talking about his reclassification. He's worth his weight in gold. There's not a lot to him in terms of weight, but what there is, he's worth his weight in gold as a 2-5.
A multi-talented athlete as well.
He is. He gold medal at the Paralympics in the 150-meter medley swimming in 2008, 2012, 2016. A lot of wheelchair rugby athletes that are multi-sport athletes. Quite often it's basketball. Basketball low pointers tend to be high pointers in wheelchair rugby. But he is a swimmer as well. Reach in there was illegal, so that's a penalty try for Shin. 47 years old.
Lovely pass there from Lafono to Hayden Barton-Coots.
Wonderful atmosphere in here. I love the way the kids are quite happy to applaud absolutely every try. Actually, some of them have been given New Zealand flags as well, so they're just happy to have a morning off school, I think.
I think this is a good tactic here from New Zealand. They're defending the key. I think they're going to struggle to push with Japan. They don't quite have the speed that Japan do. And so when you're defending a smaller zone, people's speed becomes less valuable.
Key is obviously the dark area that you can see there. You can only have 3 defenders in there at any one time. Otherwise, it's 4 in the key, and that is a foul. And there's been a turnover there. Lefono couldn't get that over the long arms, the long reach that we mentioned earlier of Yukinobu Ike.
He's so deceptive as well. Obviously, he looks tall, but then when he puts those arms up, he really is a tower of a man.
Lefono makes amends. Score back to 9-7. Hewitt, the coach, looking up. Yukinobu to Shin. Shin gets the better of a couple of mid-pointers. And then a penalty try awarded.
We got some subs in the box for Japan. Daisuke Kazaki, Tomoaki Imai, and Wakiyama getting ready to come in. What a luxury to have Daisuke Kazaki coming off the bench.
Exactly, the 4 high pointers they've got. The 2 they got on at the moment, Ikezaki, who looks like he's coming on soon, and then Hashimoto, the youngster. It's almost unfair, isn't it? You shouldn't take one of those high pointers and give them another passport and say, okay, come on, here's here, for example, here's a German passport. Go and play for them for a couple of years and let's balance things out.
It's almost like having a Lionel Messi or Ronaldo coming off the bench.
It's almost like having a Messi and a Mbappe and a Neymar and, oh yes, they've got that, haven't they, Paris Saint-Germain?
Yeah.
Which is fine by me. I lived in Paris for 10 years as a youngster, so they're my French team. And pops that one over the top to Lefono. So keeping it honest, keeping it reasonably close. Quick look at Gareth Lynch there, one of the low pointers who may come on a little bit later. But fired over the top to the captain. Now the substitutions can't come unless there's a dead ball or a timeout. So we can see the 3 that Chris mentioned in the box waiting patiently to come on.
Big hit there between Leslie and Shimakawa.
And there is the long arm of the law, HBC. Oh, that was asking a little bit too much of Lefono, and it was also wonderful defense by Seiya Norimatsu. So it's a turnover. It's a dead ball. The subs are going to come on. We're also having a substitute for New Zealand, and that is Maya Marshall Armai. I've been pronouncing it Amai, but it's Armai. And thank you very much to Bevan Jenkinson, who wrote in. He's a a commentator down in New Zealand who's been watching the streams faithfully, and I'm sure he's watching right now because it's about 10 o'clock in the evening on a Friday night. So thank you for writing in, Bevan, and getting the right pronunciation for us for Maya Marshall-Armai. Maya Marshall-Armai, who is the cousin of Benji Marshall, the New Zealand standoff half. He was a great 13-a-side, so rugby league player for many a year. And it's his cousin who has just come on.
Yeah, I think that was a good substitution from New Zealand. Normally Lafono is a safe pair of hands, but I think all three of New Zealand's turnovers have unfortunately come through him. So, give him 5 minutes, maybe compose himself, grab a drink.
It's a like-for-like substitution, mid-pointers, and the fact that Maya Marshall-Armai is 2.5 as opposed to 2 for Lefono, but the fact that she's a female player means that you can have 8.5 on the court as opposed to 8 in total. It's a bit of an advantage as well, and she's had plenty of playing time throughout the group stages. And there she shows off her skills with a nice dish.
Long ball. The girl as well.
Zaki. In the nick of time. I think that was a 28-metre pass. The court is 28 metres long, 15 wide, and I reckon that one went 27 metres and 90 centimetres.
He is a highlight reel waiting to happen, Daisuke Ikazaki. Seems like everything he does looks good.
When you're watching, I'm sure when you're playing against him, then everything he does looks bloody annoying. We're down into the last 75 seconds, so it's going to be a case of time management for both teams. New Zealand, though, are 5 points adrift, so getting the points is the most important thing. So over goes Cam Leslie, to the delight of the crowd. So Ikazaki is going to look to barge his way through and score on the 55-second mark.
Yeah, so Japan trying to score in any time really in between 50 and 55 seconds to try and guarantee the last possession of the quarter.
And she had 40 seconds worth of possession maximum. So even if New Zealand run down the clock, they can't take any more than 40 off. So there'll be 15 for Japan to score. So, right, so what do you do now as Japan? Do you try to run the clock down, use all 38.2 seconds, I presume you do here?
Yeah, what you want to do is score as late as possible, but also safely. So you don't want to start your kind of key attack too late. Generally, teams will start on around 15 seconds. And yeah, basically trying to run that clock down so that New Zealand don't have another chance. If Japan score all 4 last goals, that's going to put them in a good position, towards the end of the game.
Yes, they're looking to score the last goal here, and they will have possession in 3 minutes' time. And yes, Ikazaki looking up at the cube to see how long he's got left. 4 in the key, says the referee. So that means it's a penalty try.
We've seen that a few times this week where they haven't given penalty tries, and then a team's had to score 4 on 3, but they've had such little time to do it that they've struggled.
So the end of the first quarter of this first quarter-final here at the Wheelchair Rugby World Championship, and it's the number 1 seeds Japan who have opened up a 5-try lead, 16-11 over New Zealand.
I'm looking forward to seeing Hashimoto, the 20-year-old 3.5 player for Japan. He's really come of age in this tournament, I think.
He has. He got a lot of playing time earlier on, and then for Japan to make sure that they got past the likes of Australia, Canada, they tended to go back to the well to the players, the 40-somethings that have served them so well, the likes of Ikazaki with that ready blonde mop of the captain Yukinobu with a long reach, and then Shin Shimakawa, the 47-year-old. He often plays alongside Hashimoto as a sort of mentor to the 47-year-old mentoring the 20-year-old. Quick look at the stats in the first quarter, and it's a 5-try difference, and those 5 can be found in the turnover column from New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, that really is an ominous start, isn't it? You know, Japan coming out really strong.
0 turnovers for Japan as well, so Kevin Orr, the coach, will be very happy.
And that's the kind of thing that a really top team can focus on in a game like this. You know, if they are going to go ahead and win, if they could go ahead, you know, and maybe run the whole game with 0 turnovers, then that will be something that they will really celebrate. You know, as a team being that consistent, that focused.
0 turnover game, that would be something that any team would love to aspire to, but they're a quarter of the way there. And they're a quarter of the way there in terms of leading on the scoreboard, the main thing that counts. We talk about turnovers and assists, and we talk about managing time and running a few seconds off the clock, using your timeouts, but the only thing that counts at the end of the day is how many tries you've scored and how many you've conceded. So Japan, 16-11, 5 tries to the goods, all 4 timeouts in their laps. Now the winner of this quarterfinal will play the winner of the North American battle. Been a lot of chopping and changing of the lineups and the timing to make sure it's possible for everyone around the world to watch the matches in their own time zone. So this is actually reasonably good for Japan. It will be 6:20 in the evening over in Japan. So good evening to you if you're watching there. And then it's 10:20 at night for New Zealand. So there's been a bit of chopping and changing, but the winner of this will play the winner of the North American derby, USA versus Canada in a quarter-final.
That's going to be an absolute cracker, that one. It's one of the biggest rivalries probably in this sport, and you know, if you ever get a chance to, you know, tune in and watch that one, please do.
Yes, those two probably thinking, hang on, quarterfinals, how come we're meeting in the quarterfinals? Something's gone wrong here. But that is because the top 8 teams in the world are so darn good. And Japan are number 1 in the world. Reigning world champions. They won down in Homebush, Sydney 4 years ago. Edging out a final by just 1 point in overtime. 4 years ago, I do believe it was 62-61 over Australia.
Yeah, that was one hell of a game as well. There lots of changes in momentum in that one. I think both teams had 3 or 4 point leads at some point. That long ball again.
Barton Coots having a reach in there. And there's 4 around, buzzing around Ikazaki, which means that over there, unmarked at the top of the key, is Shunya Nakamachi.
Just an effortless pass there from Mike Yukinobu over to the 2-pointer, perfectly on his lap.
And a nice little block as well from Kai Kurahashi. So both teams having a female player out there, allowing them to play 8.5 points on the court. And we had 9 points on the court from USA yesterday. They had both of their female players on towards the end of the match against GB, so they were allowed to have 9 points on. They had Liz Dunn, who came on briefly to join Sarah Adam, who was player of the match in that one.
Japan just did a really good job at forcing New Zealand to call a timeout. Hayden Barton Coots was posted up in the key, but Cam Leslie couldn't find him, and the Japanese players pushed him over the goal line, but he managed to just get that timeout call in.
2 timeouts used already by New Zealand. Tendency is to say that it's fine to use your timeouts as long as you convert them into points. So, MMA, Maya Marshall Armai fires that one in to Cam Leslie, and now he's just got 10 seconds left in which to score. No problem for him.
I feel like the gap in the scoreline is slightly misrepresentative. You know, a lot of the New Zealand guys played really well. It's just a couple of those turnovers were just unforced, and it could be a real shame when, you know, you get a gap like this just because of things like that. So. I mean, HBC's having a really good game so far, and Cam Leslie, so if they can carry that on, you know, maybe try and keep this gap at a similar size.
6 points it is at the moment. HBC there. I think it seems to be a personal battle, as is often the case. Oh, Cam Leslie went. It's an over and back, as you could see the gesture from the referee, who was perfectly positioned to see it. He put a wheel back over into the back court, having taken the ball into the front court. Now that was a forced error rather than an unforced one. Intentions of the two high pointers there. And Kevin Orr likes that one. He's going to celebrate every little victory, as a good coach should.
Key defence here, trying to stop Ike Ukenobu getting in. You see the tall number 21 trying to get that post. But Ikazaki just bludgeons his way through.
Ikazaki hasn't had a whole lot of playing time, but he's already got 6 tries. The other Ike, Yukinobu Ike, he has 9. Barton Coots has to bounce it. Everyone has to bounce it once every 10. Or, of course, pass or score. Go, you good things. Good to see them in the crowd. Come a heck of a long way. It's good for them to have something to cheer about. And they've been cheering all week. Another try for Nakamachi.
Leslie hounded by 3 of the Japanese players here. Just the 2 now, but that's a lot of pressure on him. 6 points there.
Yes, just the 2, but it's not just any 2, is it? Ike and Ikezaki.
He's moonwalking back in.
He is. How about that? Let's do it all the way. Well, talking about highlight reels.
You'll love to see that.
He did it all without the reversing camera as well. He just he knew exactly where he was going.
New Zealand have created a turnover against Japan here.
Japan obviously stunned there by the reverse. It was good 10 meters of reversing. And then the ball has been lost and gone out of bounds, so it's inbounded by Maya Marshall. And, well, Kiwis, the Wheel Blacks, have got a chance to reduce the deficit. HBC to MMA. Cam Leslie's there, but always got people around him. Pops it over the top to HBC, who's never going to lose that one, and we are within 5.
And Hashimoto calls equipment. I think he's got a flat tire.
So Hashimoto, the youngster, is on. And he's out there indeed with his mentor, Shin Shimakawa. Is that reverse try? Does it count double when it's all reverse, or does it not count at all?
Be a fun addition to the rules.
It would. Everyone would then do it. Japan would just be doing it all the time. They get to the key, spin around, and yeah. HBC needs a little bit of an equipment A bit of help from the mechanic. Bit of fine-tuning down the bottom of the chair at the front. Oh, it's been lost by Armai, and they're going to get the ball back, but Hashimoto was alert to that, couldn't quite corral it in.
Just a bit of information on the rules there. So you saw when that ball was passed in and it was fumbled. The 12-second count doesn't actually start until the ball is in control by a player, but the shot clock does. So it could be, you could be down to 24 seconds, but the referee has a 12-second count with their arm.
So the 12-second count still to get the ball over the halfway line.
But we do have, I believe this is a turnover as Cam Leslie was hit as he was catching the ball. You could see him trying to keep his chair up, couldn't you there?
Exactly. There's not a whole lot of him to keep the chair up. He's quite a slight fellow. And it is indeed a turnover. He's a slight fellow, but what there is of him is all shoulders, as befits both a wheelchair rugby top-level player and a swimming gold medalist. And how about that? Barton Coots gets a hand to the ball, and where does it go? Straight back into the lap of Shimakawa.
Really unlucky that from New Zealand.
If it weren't for bad luck, they'd have no luck at all. 14 is Cody Everson. He's out at the moment, co-captain. He's one of the captains out on the court, along with Cam Leslie.
Such great control with that left hand, isn't he? He can put the ball up, put that ball up in the air, keep it protected, and swing his hips and move his chair at the same time.
The Maya Marshall Army has gone off. Gareth Lynch is on as well. And Hashimoto is also on, and he'll be looking to make the most of his minutes. Saying, pick me, coach, pick me, pick me. Leslie once again with two high pointers all the way around him. Gareth Lynch picks that one up beautifully. 25-year-old engineer from Hamilton but plays in Auckland.
Nice and straightforward try there for Japan.
They've got the lead back up to 7 points.
Nice push in there from Leslie.
Does it with sheer speed. Yeah, I don't know about 2.5. He's a 2.75 at least, isn't he? He's a bandit of 2.5. Tries to reach in there, and Barton Coots, can he get it? Not quite.
The referee blew the whistle there before the ball was out, or before a wheel was out, so I think she had the greatest view.
Yes, Paulina Schmidt right there, as always. Absolutely on the spot. Referees here being of the highest quality throughout. Perfect positioning, very clear calls as well. It's good for us in the commentary box. It's great for you at home as well to know exactly what they're calling. Popped over the top. Hitoshi Ogawa.
A couple of times Barton Coots has blocked passes and things like that, and they just haven't been able to turn them into turnovers. But it's good signs for New Zealand. If he can keep getting in some of the players' faces, using his height as his advantage.
It's one of those where you think, I've got half a turnover 3 or 4 times. Could we not add them all up and call it a turnover and give me the ball?
Yeah, that can be so frustrating as well as a player.
that close every time. Come on, when's one going to stick? Which is why you've got to keep your composure throughout. And looking very composed there, Barton Coots. So up to 8 tries, Cam Leslie 8 as well.
Really composed play there from Hashimoto. He didn't push and get himself into a tricky position. He just kind of waited as Leslie had to back off. Ooh. We have a penalty goal there.
Yes, Leslie spinning him over just as he was crossing the line. Had a go at him there. Said, right, I'm going to get you.
I think Shimakawa was already talking to the ref about a contact from before, and as he gets hit like that by Cam Leslie.
You didn't give the first one, so he's made it a bit clearer this time. Are you going to give this one? Shin's seen it all before, though. 47 years old, made his debut 20 years ago.
Cameron Leslie there remonstrating to the referee that he thought Shimakawa might have taken an easy dive.
An easy dive. But, yes.
It's all part of the game, isn't it?
Leslie stuck in the key, gets it out to Barton Coots. They need to get it over the halfway line within 12. You'll see the possession clock appear there, 31, so that's just the 9 seconds they used. The next timing now is scoring before that possession clock expires. We're down into the last 75 seconds. So Japan are no doubt going to practice their time management once they get the ball back. Have a 6-point lead. Now, those of you who've been watching throughout the week or watching earlier, you know that Japan are going to try and run this down and score between 50 and 55 seconds. You've been paying attention. There we go. Japan now all but guaranteed to get an extra possession. It could well be the last possession of the half. Everson with the inbound.
Oh, turnover.
And that's not what you wanted. The inbound between Everson and Lynch, a couple of one-pointers. So Japan are going to run the clock down. They may well use a timeout. 26 on the possession clock, 25 as you can see there. So they may well run it down until the possession clock is down to about 1. Call a timeout, and that will reset that clock to 15 and make the possession clock the same as the game clock.
So they'll be calling in 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Well stopped from the timekeeper there. Bang on 15 seconds.
It's indeed, it was. It's the little things you try to work at. It's the players are going, can we have a quarter without turnovers? And the timekeeper's going, can I stop it exactly on the 50? Yes, I have. And there we go, getting their own timestamps. Everyone's got a timestamp they're looking at. So Japan now with 15 seconds to score. Of course, it's all well and good using a timeout, but you have to convert it into points. And Shin is going to shin his way over the line. With 3 seconds to go and make it an 8-try game. Is Barton Coots going to throw a Hail Mary? No, he's not. He's going to stick it in his lap, give it straight to the referee. We have Everson on the floor, but the hooter has gone. And at the end of the second quarter, another quarter that Japan has won. The first quarter they won at 16-11. The second was a bit tighter, 13-11, but the long and the short of it is Japan leads 29-21 heading into the big break.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shame that last offensive possession from New Zealand, because if they'd have maybe done what Japan did, used their timeout to score that last goal, you know, they would have gone in, it would have gone in 28-22, and then New Zealand also have the possession error at the start of the next, so could have been a 5-try game, and now, you know, it's kind of blown open to 8. So it's on such fine margins that the score can rest.
Exactly, a 2-point swing very easy to, well, they can happen very easily. So you're seeing Barton Coots having another wheel change. Might as well have a fresh set of rubber put on there, ready for the second half. Now, Japan, they had a turnover, didn't they?
They did.
See, well, they're going to have to work harder.
And they'll be gutted about that. You know, if Japan use, let's say, 4 or 5 lines today, that one line that gave that turnover away will be...
You're the turnover lion. Don't think you're starting in the semi-finals. You might get a bit of garbage time towards the end when we're winning, but no, they're not going to be taking it easy in the quarters or the semis. We're going to be taking it easy, though, because it's a 10-minute break and there's 8 minutes of it left. We've got a huge day ahead of us. All 4 quarterfinals and a couple of placing matches, one of which has just finished. So it's going to be a long day for us, so we're going to make the most of the break as well, and we will be back with you in 8 minutes' time. We're back, 30 seconds to go in this first quarter-final at the 2022 Wheelchair Rugby World Championship in Vejle in the west of Denmark. It's the winners from Pool B playing the fourth place team from Pool A in front of the massed ranks of the Vejle school kids having an excursion. And they've got the Kiwi, they've got the New Zealand flag in there with them. Good on them. And some Japanese flags, and they're just happy to... I hope they are allowed to be out of school, because otherwise they've all been caught on camera and they're all going to have detention when they get back in. So we are underway in the second half. New Zealand with an 8-point deficit to try to overcome. Le Fourneau has come back on. He made a couple of handling errors in the first quarter, and that was a bit of a tester for him, but he managed to corral that one in.
He'll be pleased he's got that one out of the way.
Well, how about that for a pass? The captain fires one forward. Ike to Ikezaki. That combination that has served Japan so well for the past decade or so. Ike Yukinobu, the captain who made his debut in 2013. He's another multi-sport player. He played wheelchair basketball. Now Le Fourneau needs to stay in bounds, but he also needed to grab that ball. So there is the first turnover of the second half.
Yeah, New Zealand back to the lineup they started with.
Inbound from Gavin Rolton. 0.5er from Waikane.
Leslie does well there to receive that ball from HBC and just sneak up the sideline. Good chair control from him. Yeah, Cam Leslie's chair setup, it gives him both advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, as you said, he's fairly slight and, you know, not too heavy in his chair. That also makes him super agile, you know, and able to turn on a sixpence and, you know, beat people. So also defend well. You see, so often he doesn't fall when he manages to just keep himself up as well.
Yes, he is that agile, yes. As you say, he can turn on a sixpence, which is a dime at today's exchange rates. I think it is. The British pound seems to be plunging at the moment. It's probably not worth a dime at the moment.
Where did that saying come from? The sixpence one, you know?
It's, I suppose it's vehicles that had huge turning circles that had to go all the way around when you're trying to turn a car around. In the old days, some of them went, you had to go around a huge circumference, and then ones where you could had not power steering, because before your time, young man, there were cars without power steering, but there were ones that were very agile and you could turn and it felt as if it was just the circumference of a sixpence, so which was the smallest coin back in the pre-decimal days of the United Kingdom.
I thought you'd have a good answer for that.
12 pence in a shilling, and half a shilling was sixpence. Can you imagine that? 240 pence in a pound. That's what it was. And they changed it the day before I was born. They thought, Drew Lilly's not going to be able to understand all this. We're going to change it.
Coast to coast there from Ike Yukinobu.
Yes, Japan's currency is tries, and they are Well, they've invested in this team over the years, investing in youth as well, in the likes of Hashimoto. It's currently the long-term investments that they've got out there at the moment, the 40-somethings. The two Ikes, Ikezaki, 44 years old, and Ike Yukinobu, 42. And they forced New Zealand into a timeout. It was a tighter match than this. It was 29-22 at the half, 33-24. They've stretched it out to a 9-point lead. There is the youngster.
He'll be thinking in his head, come on coach, put me in. You know, but you can't really ask the coach to put you in. He'll just be giving him the eyes along the bench.
Exactly, it was pursed lips there from Hashimoto, but the advantage he's got is that his coach is Kevin Orr, and if anyone likes a substitution, it's Kevin Orr. So Japan, key defence. Kiwis with 20 seconds in which to score. Can Leslie this way and that. He thinks, well, the way to do it is to fire it out somewhere within about 2 meters of Hayden Barton-Coots.
Just ridiculous, isn't it, his reach?
It is when he's alongside Yukinobu, who has a similar reach, and he seems to be outreaching him at the moment.
Ooh. Quick steal there from Leslie, almost got the ball.
Beautifully lofted over the top there. Finds Wakayama.
Ikezaki trusting his low pointer there.
Substitutions for New Zealand. Maya Marshall has come back on in place of Lefono. Again, this Japanese defence, they shall not pass. Even if you do get it to Barton-Coots, he's got a lot of men around him. Oh, how about that? HBC to MMA.
Lovely screen there from Rolton as well. Giving Armai that space to post up in the opposite side of the key.
It's executed like that. It looks such a simple game, doesn't it? Nine-point lead for Japan. Leslie has to remain in bounds. He also has to get the ball over the halfway line in the next couple of seconds. Also has to bounce it once every 10. And when you're desperate to get it over the halfway line and you've got the attentions of two opponents, then maybe you're going to throw it away for a turnover. They've only got one timeout left, and he was loath to use it there.
And the battle of the towers gets won by Ike Yukinobu there.
That's right. Manages to outreach Hayden the Reach Barton-Coots. So it's now a 10-point game, at least it was. It's 9+ possession for Japan.
Number 7.
So Ikezaki running the key attack. You might expect Ike Yukinobu to run the key attack because his hands and his passing are so good. But the reason they run it that way around is because Yukinobu has the height to post up in the key, and it gives almost an uncontestable pass.
Give and go between Rolton and Maya Marshall.
This is difficult.
This is going to have to be a timeout.
You almost can't see anything when someone like Ike Yukinobu is in front of you. It's so difficult. Look at her, she's trying to look around the side of him.
Timeout ref, I can't see what I'm looking at here. Timeout ref, time to move.
Yeah. So Yukinobu's just come off. Something I was watching over the last couple of minutes with him, he sits really high in his chair, a little bit like Leslie and some others, but he's really intelligent with his chair movement. A lot of people that sit that high come out all the time, they fall. They don't understand what is going to make them fall out when they're going into a hit. But you see, if he comes back on, number 21 for Japan, he often slows down as he's about to get hit hard, so it stops the momentum that person's going to have on him.
Years of experience in wheelchair basketball and wheelchair rugby. So the youngster Hashimoto is on. Surprise.
I think the referee's just given a spin there.
It's Cody Everson who's down. My assumption was it was Cam Leslie. I couldn't quite see who it was when I looked in there, and my automatic assumption is if there's a Kiwi on the deck, then it's going to be Cam Leslie, but Cody Everson this time, the one-pointer from Christchurch.
I mean, it looked like Shimakawa just hit him straight in the side of the wheel there. Lucky to not have caught his head on Shimakawa's wheel there.
Yes. So a 10-point game, and Shin has indeed. It's Shin in the bin. Having a little chat over there with Everson and Rolton. And so, Barton Coots scores. And Shin elects to inbound because they weren't letting him out, the New Zealanders. They trapped him in there. One way of getting out is saying, well, I'm the one who's going to inbound. And, well, how about that? The master and the mentor and mentee relationship. Yeah, a turnover there.
Just a fumble there from Hashimoto. It's important that he stays in the game here, because this is where, you know, you build your character. You have to learn to, you know, deal with turnovers and gain that mental strength to, you know, kind of carry on and put things behind you. So hopefully the coach will leave him in the game.
See on the possession clock around 10 seconds to go now. I'd love to get it to Leslie, and it's going to be a reverse over the line from Cody Everson. We decided at half-time that those are worth 2. We've have a word with the officials here, and I mean, if you can have reclassifications during a tournament, then surely we can say, right, we've decided that we're going to have the double jeopardy,
We'll just start doing our own scorecard.
Exactly, and we'll announce at the end, as well as doing the player of the match. We'll say, and the actual score was New Zealand played their joker at one point, and Kevin Orr, the much-travelled coach of Japan.
Hashimoto will be determined to get a turnover here to right for that fumble, and you so often see that. They've got so much motivation to get the ball back.
Yes, again, it's that word composure. You've made a mistake, and oh, well, inbounded there, but trying to get it over Hayden Barton Coots, which I think is a challenge in anyone's money. He's a chatty fellow, is Cam Leslie, isn't he? He's always got something to say to the refs.
I've seen him getting into it a little bit with the other teams, mainly in the jokey way, but as he gets smashed into the key by Shimakawa.
A reach in there, illegal contact, but it's going to be given as as an equipment change.
You never want to be that one that Shimakawa's coming in to hit. You you're probably going to get a bent spoke or a bent push rim just from Shimakawa trying to get his position in the key.
Quite an apposite piece of music from the stadium DJ, because usually the signal for a change of equipment either by one of the referees or the player themselves looks like the M of YMCA.
So Japan have got Hayden Barton-Coots pinned in a really awkward position there, but he chooses to inbound.
Yes, if you're stuck there almost on the try line, you can't go out to come back in, because once you're out, you're out. Finds Leslie, who is always going to be able to outpace or go up the one-pointer from Tokyo. They got it back to within 8, the Kiwis.
It's going to be close, this one.
Oh, how about that from Hashimoto? Kept himself in bounds perfectly. Yes, again, as we say, once you're out, you're out. Kiwis all back around the key. And maybe, perhaps Japan will try to push Everson into the key. Make it 4 in the key, but it's an ambitious pass from Shin, and I think Shin there was saying, don't worry, student of mine, that was my fault.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there for that line. A couple of passes to Hashimoto were just off the mark, and that wasn't his fault on those two.
So Hashimoto now, even though it's not his fault, he's off, because they can roll so many lines. Kai Kurahashi is on.
I think Shimakawa might have thought he was passing to Yukinobu on that one.
Exactly, yes. You forget what kind of reach is out there. Norimatsu, number 22, is out there. Shin is still there. And the other high pointer is the captain, Ike Yukinobu. Barton-Coots gets it over the top, despite the attentions. Over and back. Well, the referee's eagle-eyed there. Cam Leslie has something to say about it.
So a will has to go. One will has to enter the front court, and a will has to go backwards for it to be an over and back. So Cameron Leslie obviously didn't think that a whole will went forwards and back over.
Leslie to Barton-Coots. Barton-Coots this way and that. There's only 28 seconds left in the quarter. Throws out an ambitious pass. And you don't want to be throwing it in hope more than expectation when you are playing Japan.
See Shimakawa just apologised to his bench. He looked at the coach and then apologised to his teammates just for scoring a bit early there. That's the level of excellence that they're trying to achieve.
Sorry for scoring a point, coach.
Yeah.
Said no player ever, but in this sport, then time management is everything. And okay, so New Zealand have got a point. They have got a try, and Shinichi Shimakawa is going to be desperate to get that point back in the next 7.3 seconds. The remaining 7.3 seconds. Countdown in Japanese. There we go. Shin's off the hook. The captain got him out of jail there.
Yeah, leaving a team like Japan 7.5 seconds, because they can pass it so far and quickly, and they can all push so fast. You know, you really want to be leaving it 5 seconds or under against these guys.
So at the end of the third quarter, it's now up to a 10-try lead. Japan leading it 42-32 against New Zealand. They won that third quarter 13-10. It's another of the small battles you're ticking off as well. Can you win every quarter? Even if you're losing, can you win a quarter against good opposition? 16-11, 13-11, 13-10. Trying to keep the turnovers down. Maybe they'll try to keep New Zealand into single figures. All of these things that they can tick off with the match seemingly in the books with just 8 minutes to go, 42-32. 3 turnovers from Japan there. Well, that's the that was the Shimakawa and Hashimoto combination. So it's probably the others like Ikizaki who are licking their lips. You always look a bit better when you're on the sidelines and your teammates are not quite getting it right. Your stock rises.
Yeah, you know, and those numbers just a little bit scrappy. You know, I'm sure they'll debrief that. They'll go back and look at the video this evening, and maybe, you know, chat with the line as to how they can make these passing options a bit easier for the inbounders, and, you know, just how to use the space a little bit better.
Having a look at some of the equipment that is in use here. The incredible gloves that absolutely everybody wears. I say absolutely everybody. John Orozco, the high pointer for Colombia, the man with the hand of flint, doesn't wear a glove. So at some point I'm going to go and high-five him or shake him by the hand and just see what that is. The man with no glove, see what that hand is really like. Everyone else gets as much protection as they can, but obviously you need to protect your hands, but you also want to be able to get the ball under control, to pass it as well, to pass it with a bit of backspin so it doesn't spin away from you.
Yeah. And I think that the guys that come from basketball, the guys that have really good function in the hand, they like to feel that ball. So the less layers or the less thick that your gloves are, the more you can feel and manipulate the ball. So generally, the higher the function the player, often the less thick their gloves are. Whereas the lowies who don't catch the ball or pass it that much, they have really thick gloves, perfect for gripping the wheel. Just saw the Japanese huddle there with Coach Kevin Orr and also his translator. There is a slight language barrier in that team. I know Kevin Orr's been working hard to learn the language, but he also has a translator there with him, and I've heard them work, and they're really, really impressive and efficient.
Inbound for Japan, we have 8 minutes of this first quarterfinal remaining. Japan, the #1 seeds, the defending champions from 4 years ago, have an 11-try lead over New Zealand. New Zealand, who were really at their prime around 1998 when they finished second. 2006 they finished second as well. That was probably the peak of their powers. 98 they lost to USA in the final in Toronto, and then in Christchurch on home soil in 2006, again losing to the US.
This is where you'll need someone a little older than me to tell you about some of the New Zealand players from back in those days. I have been told stories about them. The game was a little bit different then. There was no shot clock, so they had a couple of guys that were really good with their hands and they could protect the ball. And sometimes the quarter scores would be, you know, maybe 2-2 because people keep possession for 5 minutes sometimes.
And then someone said, you know what, we may need to make this a more spectator-friendly sport.
And I think they got it right.
Leslie out of the bin. Into the front court, and that's a turnover. Hayden Barton-Coots on the sidelines at the moment. Change in lineup for the Kiwis.
New Zealand actually running half a point underpointed in this lineup. So I don't exactly know the reason for that. Maybe they're just trying to rest Hayden Barton-Coots, or maybe get some of the other guys on, because they're currently running with 2-5 in Cam Leslie, a 2-pointer in Lafono, a 2-pointer in Hewitt, and a 1 in Everson, so that's all 7.5 points.
Well, if you're running half a point below, then you need to make every pass stick, and that's a couple of turnovers from Leslie. Leslie is the highest pointer out there, former 3, now 2.5, and I think he's trying to play as a 3.5, and trying to take on a little bit too much. May well be that New Zealand are keeping something in the tank, because this time tomorrow they're going to start, you would have thought, playing in the placement matches. The losing quarterfinalists will play off against one another, all 4 of them, and then the winners of those playoffs will play off for 5th and 6th, the losers for 7th and 8th. So maybe keeping Hayden Barton-Coots, making sure he's got a little bit left in the tank, and then obviously the winners, which units Japan, face the winners of the quarterfinal between USA and Canada. Yeah, the stadium DJ certainly reading the room. He's got a bunch of 9-year-old kids in there, so he's playing a bit of Europop. Turned the volume up to 11.
HBC checks back in for New Zealand.
It might have been that he required some repairs on his chair. So it's just a temporary 7.5 lineup that they were running. And they've got themselves bogged in there. They don't have any timeouts left, hence the need to stay in bound, throw the ball more in hope than expectation over the halfway line.
Good play that from Nakamachi. He read where the pass was going, and he knew he was going to have to call timeout. He was heading straight for that sideline.
So a 30-second timeout called, used, and gone. They had 3 of them still up on the screen on the cube, so they're now down to 2, but they're using them to very good effect. Ikazaki is through. Yet another try for him. That's 8 for him, 11 for Shimakawa, 17 for Yukinobu Ike.
Back.
Got the ball and then put a wheel back on the wrong side, so it's turnover after turnover here for New Zealand, struggling in this 4th quarter. It's the worst quarter for for turnovers already. They're up to 5, which is as many as they had in the 1st and the 3rd, but we are less than 2 minutes in. Leslie fires one forward, but it's too ambitious, and that is the 6th turnover. Hewitt, the player coach.
New Zealand really starting to struggle now. They actually didn't do too badly in the 2nd and 3rd quarters. They were pretty much level until the last couple of minutes in each quarter, where they struggled, and Japan got a few turnovers. But in this quarter, it's kind of been since the very start. They've given 3 or 4 turnovers away already. Sorry, I'm mistaken. That's actually 6 turnovers already in this quarter for New Zealand. So
6 turnovers in the space of 2 minutes and 14 seconds is pretty poor by anyone's reckoning. The match has really gone out of hand for them in this 4th quarter.
I'm sure it won't continue like that, but if that carried on for the rest of this quarter, that could be up by around 12 to 16 turnovers in one quarter.
Hashimoto is back on, and he'll be keen to show what he is capable of, both on attack and defence. He's there trying to be part of the team that hems in Barton-Coots, slows him down. Kurahashi there as well. Barton Coots halfway through the possession clock there. Into single figures on the possession clock, and nothing is going right for New Zealand at the moment. If you can't find Barton Coots with a long pass, then it really means that nothing's going right.
Yeah, maybe a bit of fatigue setting in here. New Zealand don't have a really deep bench, so a lot of these guys will have had to have played high amount of minutes over this.
They've literally only come with 9 players, where 12 was possible. Obviously, they've had the longest journey of anyone. It's around 18,000 kilometres, I do believe. Ian Simpson, I don't think has played at all. Little time on court for the likes of Hewitt, Everson, Gareth Lynch. So it's primarily been Leslie, Barton Coots, Gavin Rolton, and then either Nafi Lefono or Maya Marshall.
Leslie probing the key, trying to find a gap.
And Hewitt just about gets over the line. Hashimoto working his way forward from the back.
He did well to ride out 2 contacts there from New Zealand. Well, two reach attempts, should I say.
And handed it off rather than risking Barton Coots. He waited, he made Barton Coots commit and then handed it off to his captain. How about that from the captain?
Fantastic awareness there from Yukinobu. He managed to, if he'd have caught that, he'd have gone over and back himself, literally as soon as he caught it. So just tapped it back towards his teammate.
And tapped it really accurately. Turned around, went forward, picked it up, scored the try. That's what you want from a captain. Leading by example. It's another turnover. Hashimoto, he's always going to be there to pick up the crumbs. Well, the turnovers racking up here for New Zealand. They're going to create a rather unwanted record. It's going to be an unofficial record because I don't think this kind of statistic will have been kept, but the most turnovers in 1 quarter in a World Championship match.
Nice shake and bake there from Hashimoto. Definitely looking stronger and stronger each time I see him. He smiles as he gives his teammates high fives as he leaves the court. We've got a new lineup here for Japan, one that we won't see very often. We got the 2 two-pointers in Nakamachi and Haga, alongside Daisuke, Ikazaki, and Agawa.
That's easy for you to say.
So we have a penalty try there as Ikazaki got hit into the key, and as we've said earlier, you're only allowed 3 in that key when you're defending it. Nice pass there from Nakamachi.
It was over the top to Ikazaki, who's going to take his time. He's already looking up at the cube and seeing how long is left, and it's 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Now, you would think that time management wouldn't really be an issue for Japan because they are 21 tries clear, but in a quarterfinal like this where the result is beyond any doubt. It's the kind of time when you can start, you're against good opposition, and you can start practicing things, practicing your time management, practicing certain types of defense, certain types of attack.
Definitely, every chance to, you know, practice these things when the lights are on is invaluable. Good go there between Nakamachi and Agawa.
And that pass, absolutely perfect, lands in the lap of Haga. Haga from Chiba. Suburb in the east of Tokyo with great facilities. Leslie fires one forward to Barton Coots. Reaches out a long limb, gets it in his lap, but then finds himself hemmed in. He's got time to get rid of it and finds his skipper. Skipper finds the co-captain. Co-captain finds his route blocked. But manages to wheedle his way through. As you were saying earlier, he is agile.
Hard work from him there to get that try, but it paid off.
Just around 90 seconds to go in this first quarter-final. Ikazaki cruising over the line. He's up to double figures for tries. He also has 9 assists, so he'll be looking to dish one off for a double-double. Was a good pass out there from Leslie because he had a lot of attention around him. Great to see the Kiwis in the crowd applauding absolutely everything.
Now Japan, if they wanted to, they could run this whole clock out. There was 1 minute and 10 seconds on the game clock, and they have 2 timeouts, so they could just call them both and, you know, score one at the end. But looks like they'll try and score quick here.
Captain on the sidelines, keeping limber. Hayden Barton Coots takes the ball up and over the halfway line, just in time. 25 seconds on the possession clock. Now it's 25 on the game clock. Leslie gets through for another try. He's up to 16. Second only to Yukinobu Ike.
So 10 seconds for Japan to score. Oof. Timeout called there from Ikazaki. And 4 seconds to score. There's no real gentleman rules in this game. We often see people trying to run up the score at the end, but looks like they're going to relax on this one, Japan.
Relax indeed, they did not relax. They relaxed for 4 seconds at the end, but for 31 minutes and 56 seconds prior to that, they were all business, and the scoreline reflects that. 58-38 to Japan, certainly living up to their reigning champions and world #1 tag. Tough day at the office for the Kiwis. They didn't give up, but they really struggled in that fourth quarter. It got away from them. As the players are lining up, we're going to have the presentation for the Grundfos player of the match.
Handed over by 3 students from a school called Stephen Skole, Isak, Vlad, og Jonathan, player number 21 from Japan, Ike Yukinobu.
Real captain's knock there from Ike Yukinobu.
Just a little rundown on his stats. 19 tries, 5 passing assists. He screened for 1 try and he also made 6 steals. 6 steals, that's ridiculous.
It's incredible, isn't it? When you think that, yes, New Zealand got 2 steals in total. And that fella got 6, all on his own.
That's great there, seeing some of the Danish school children that have come along to watch the game today, presenting the Player of the Game award to one of the best players in the game.
Certainly proved that he was one of the best players in the game today, firing his team into the semi-finals. We have mentioned it before, the strength and depth that they have